Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of Tracy's Tuesdays Talks. I am so glad that you're here today. Please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel and share on Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever you might be seeing this. Appreciate you helping out the small business this season. This week, I wanted to talk about mental health, money, and the Christmas season. This season is happy, happy, joy, joy for a lot of people. And for many, it is a season of loneliness and grief, depression, and unmet expectations. Just real quick, according to Own Your Past, Change Your Future author, Dr. John Deloney, loneliness has the same impact on the body as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. 15 cigarettes a day, same impact as loneliness. It's crazy. And these things, the loneliness, the depression, grief, the unmet expectations, those things can be fueled by things as easy to recognize as, man, it's cold outside, I'm not getting the exercise or the vitamin D or being outdoors as much as I love to recharge my batteries. That made me, I made it sound like we're like solar people. But also these things are fueled by exhaustion, taking on more debt, and also the thing that I want to dig into more, trying to make the season fit into this box on what we think it ought to feel like when it doesn't feel that way for us. So, what happens when we're blasted with the perfect Christmas? I mean, we're talking Christmas music that's just in our ears that we cannot get out of our brain. All I want for Christmas is you. Just stop it, Mariah. Or the perfect Christmas movies, the Hallmark movies, or the classics, the perfectly decorated houses, the Christmas cookies, the presents, the tree, the family, the dinners, the parties. Everything is just so perfect. And what happens is our subconscious is like, oh, that's cool. I like that. I want to be a part of that. So we try to recreate that in our own lives, which fuels that exhaustion, the grief, the debt, and the unmet expectations. One thing that popped into my head was a lot of people, a lot of adults that I've noticed are trying to recreate for their kids what they had themselves as kids. That's not a bad thing. However, what I realized was when we're kids, we see things through a different lens of perception. We see the world differently as kids than we do as adults. Now, bear with me on this. When we are kids, we're fascinated by the box more than the toy. At least I was when I was a little kid. I'd rather play in the box than play with Barbie or whatever toy it was. And we're so enamored by the simple things in life because we don't have the adult responsibilities. So the smallest things bring us that joy and that excitement and that wonder of this time of year. Fast forward 20, 30, 40 years, when you try to recreate that joy that you had as a kid through the lens and the perception that you have as an adult, things change. You feel like you have to have all of this stuff to recreate the joy and the wonder that you had as a kid. But you can't because you've got two different people viewing the world through two different lenses and two different perceptions of reality. So you've got parents who are, or aunts and uncles, or whomever it is, like spending all this money trying to create the perfect Christmas or whatever it is, trying to show love or trying to get the thing that their kids want or their niece and nephew want, or whomever it is, to try to bring that joy. When you ask a kid, or even ask yourself, what did I get last year for Christmas? Can you answer that? I don't remember what I got for Christmas last year. I remember I got my husband the 007 DVD set, like the original Sean Connery set, but I don't remember what else we did. So there's the expectation of, I have to do this thing to create this joy and this wonder and make it special. When the lenses are different, the perceptions of reality are different. And the reality is, most people don't even remember what they got for Christmas that year, or what parties they went to, or what decorations were up, or what they had for dinner, unless it's like every year we have ham, that kind of thing. So a lot of people go through that exhaustion and the debt and the stress of trying to recreate something that they had as a kid for their kids, or recreate what they had themselves as kids, when that different life experience makes it to where it can't be. So people end up going into debt. People end up stressed to the max to meet these expectations. And they're exhausted because they're going from here to here to here to here to here. All the Christmas shopping, all the grocery shopping, all the decorations, all the parties, all of this to try to get into the Christmas spirit. My friends, I want to share some tips with you to try to pull back from that, because what that's doing is it's really hurting your mental health, not to mention your budget. So, what are some tips that you can have to try to change things and go back to that magical time of wonder and joy? First step is realizing that what happened then might not be able to happen now, and being okay with that. Take time to grieve unmet expectations. Take time to grieve the people that you lost. Take time to grieve what you wish that you had but might not be able to do. Take that time to grieve. Please don't just sock it down. Write a letter to that person. Talk it out with somebody. Please take that time to just sit with your emotions. Recognize that where you're at is okay. It's okay to feel your feelings. And then from there, look for ways to create something new. Look for ways to create new traditions or new experiences. And if that new experience means like slowing way down and saying no to a lot of things this year, let it be that. Christians, talking to you. I love Jesus, by the way, if you didn't know that about me already. If you're feeling this way, I encourage you to evaluate where you're at in your walk with the Lord and return to your first love, which is Jesus. A lot of people, Christians included, celebrate the Christmas season, but they don't celebrate Jesus. It's a lot like throwing this big, massive birthday party for your 2-year-old kid and then not having the 2-year-old come. Take time to slow down and truly celebrate what Jesus did. The God of the universe, through whom everything was created, came down as a baby, dirty diapers and needing to be fed and everything, so that way he could grow up and be the sacrifice needed so we could be reconciled to God. Take time to celebrate Jesus and ask the Holy Spirit to just be like, man, help me feel your peace. The next thing for everybody, whether you're a Christian or not, is to rest. Take time to rest, please. You don't have to be working the full-time job and going to 16 parties and buying your kids' class 26 cupcakes and having to do this and teachers' presents and all this other stuff. Take time to rest, which means going into the next thing, saying no and creating boundaries. Protect your self-care through boundaries. When you have an invitation to go somewhere or do something, take a moment. Don't say yes right away. Take a moment, pause, check in with yourself, check in with your spouse if you're married, and ask yourself, what is my body saying? What is my brain saying? If your body is like, oh, anxiety, oh, frustration, oh, that's one more thing to add to the list, you have permission to say no, thank you, and move on. Focus on the things that do bring you joy. If that's a mug of hot chocolate next to the tree, if you've got one set up, and just sitting there in the quiet before the kids wake up or after they've gone to bed, and that brings you joy, do it. If you truly enjoy freezing your butt off, walking outside in the cold and just listening to the birds and the quiet, do that. If it truly is taking time to spend with friends and family that fill you up and don't drain you, do that. Also, don't go into debt. Keep it simple. This year, I had a friend, she's like, "Man, I'm making you this thing, and it's great and it's wonderful." And later on, I let her know, "This year, we're not doing Christmas presents." And that's okay. And I really didn't have to explain a whole lot to her because she was my friend and she understood. And also, if you are truly struggling with depression, anxiety, and grief, I do encourage you to go see a good therapist, somebody who's passionate about coming alongside of you and helping you meet you where you're at and helping you be guided through this. And of course, I would be remiss if you're feeling stressed and anxious and overwhelmed about the finances this season or any season, let's talk. I guide people who are stressed and anxious about money conquer their money goals and help couples come together, learn to communicate, create a similar vision, and help them get towards it together. So let's talk. I invite you to a conversation with that. I hope that this Tracy's Tuesday Talks hit you in the feels. I hope it was encouraging and helpful. Please share this message with those around you. Thank you so much, and Merry Christmas.